And we're live. Yo, what's going on, everybody? And welcome back to the show. If you're new here, my name is Mitchell. In today's episode, I'll be talking about you can have more than you got because you can become more than you are. I do these YouTube lives every Saturdays at 12 p.m. Pacific time, 3 p.m. Eastern time. So if you guys are interested, join the live. Or if you're watching this on the rerun, welcome back. All right, so I'm going to be talking about a recap, which is on an episode, problems that are in front of you are actually behind you. And the recap on the slide is you must make one or two choices. So we must all suffer from one of two pains: the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. Okay, so what's up, Cynthia? So it takes years to accumulate an unhealthy habit. It just takes time. And you know what? Most people that look at these unhealthy habits like, oh, like shit just happened yesterday. Like, no, it takes a very long time, right? Just like it takes a long time to build good habits, it takes a long time to build bad habits too, right? Usually bad habits are much easier to build because most of the time you don't really have to do anything. You just eat like shit and you right, least resistance. So believe it or not choosing something to do is also a choice, and not a lot of people know that. They think that, oh, just because I don't do anything, it's like, no, you're still making a decision, right? You must suffer from one or two pains: the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. Taking notes. If you decide to choose a life of discipline, then your life is a self-reflection of the actions that you do, right? So if you look at it, just walk out, just go outside, go to Target, go to Costco, my favorite place, and just go check out, look at people, look at how they are, look at how they act, and then look at their physical appearance. You could tell whether or not someone takes care of their body, and you could tell whether or not they don't, right? So yeah, go sit at a coffee shop anywhere. You could tell. And then you can also look at other people's behaviors, right? So maybe if you see a couple, whether it's, I don't know why I'm using Target and Costco as an example, but when you go there, look at couples, look at them, how they act around their spouses or their girlfriend, or, you know, is she walking in front of him? Chances are, if she's walking in front of him and he's like kind of back there doing his own thing, you could kind of get an idea, get an estimate on who kind of wears the pants in a relationship. You know what I mean? Like who runs the show, even though they act tough. It's like, I've seen so many guys that act tough and then they'd be like, oh, I don't care, I don't care about this, whatever. You know, I do what I want. But then when his girl shows up, he collapses and he's like, He's like, oh, anything do you want, baby? Is like, to me, that's a little cringe. You know, you do what you gotta do, right? You do what you gotta do. But you could usually kind of tell. So people watch. So, not what you want to do, but because remember, life is about making choices. A choice to become better or a choice to become mediocre, right? Choice of mediocrity. So if you find yourself, or if you find that you're living a life feeling unwanted, you're kind of bitter, you're kind of unhappy, fearful, which is something that we all kind of have, right? Because that's human nature to be fearful, because it's like this fight or flight kind of instinct. It's probably because you've been let down a lot, right? And who here has not been let down? And especially if it's like families that like don't really believe in you, or, you know, that doesn't really tell you like, hey, you know what, you could be anything that you want as long as you put your mind to it. Most people think like, oh, those are just words. And, you know, I used to really think like sticks and stones may hurt. What was that line? Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words can never hurt me. Absolutely it does, right? Most people, they internalize what other people tell them, and they believe in that, and that's the story that they consistently tell themselves, especially at a younger age. Like when I was younger, a lot of people used to be like, oh, especially like close people, like I'm talking about family, be like, oh, you won't do this, you can't do that. And I believed in it, and it's usually because like, oh, they know better, so like, I probably shouldn't have done that, you know what I mean? But in reality, all I what I should have done was I should do it anyways, regardless of whether or not you like it, because I know I like it. And even as I was getting older, right? Not long ago, people were telling me like, oh, you know what? What makes you credible? What makes it work for you? Like, you haven't been as many relationships as I have been. And I was like, great, then maybe you should become a life coach or a relationship coach. Maybe you should do that. They're like, nah, I don't want to do that. Okay, then. So I guess we have nothing here to really talk about. You know what I mean? And it almost got to me until, I was talking to one of my homies and he was like, you know what, Mitchell, like, they're absolutely right. Maybe they don't, but you also have the blueprint. You also have a coach. You're also listening to other more successful people so that you don't have to go out and reinvent the wheel again. And just because you're not the star player of the team, it doesn't mean that you can't be a coach to see what's happening, what's going on, right? To kind of dissect what's going on. And, just something like that. Having that support group really made a difference. And, they constantly tell you like, hey, you know what? Keep going. Don't stop. Right? Consistency. Anyways, so if you find that you're living a life of feeling unwanted, bitter, fearful, it's probably because you've been let down a lot and you feel that your failures overshadows your successes, right? And that's what most people kind of imagine. They think that, I'm a failure now, and just like anything that I do, I won't be successful. But look around you, look at your surroundings. What is influencing you? What's your environment like? Who you're hanging at? Who are you hanging around with? Are they encouraging you, or are they mostly doubting you? Are they telling you that you couldn't do certain things when you really want to do it, right? What attracts you? Positive people or negative people, right? Misery loves company, because people that don't believe in themselves will usually project that, hey, you know what? You probably shouldn't do that. Like, I don't think it's a good idea. It's kind of risky. You know what? If you really think about it, everything is risky. Being alive is risky. Okay, we all have one destination at the very end. RM said, I'll prove you wrong in front of the camera during interviews when no industries believed them. 7 reporters were forcing him to read negative letters from fans. That's interesting. I don't know. Was this before BTS was popular? But that's great, right? And then, you know what's crazy? Most people won't think, they won't look at you like, well, most people will say, hey, you know what? That's crazy. Like, nah, you won't do that. And these non-believers become believers. They think you're crazy. They think you're obsessed, right? And then you become successful at something and you do great at it. It's like, I always believed in you. Always knew you could do it. It's like, no, where were you when I was trying to come up? You know what I mean? And I was one of those people. I was one of those guys that I remember specifically. And I was like, damn, like, that was me back then. And I was like, I was just bitter and I was upset because this person was better than me. That's all it was. And I was like, why would you do that? That's so stupid. When you dropped out of high school to do all this, one of the most successful guys I know, right? Oh, 2013. Wow, that was like 10 years ago. I'll prove you wrong. Yeah, look at them now, right? That's crazy. And, I'm also interested to see like what happens in like about 2 years when they all come back. Like, I feel like the army is way too strong for that, for them not to ever bounce back up. It's not like Big Bang. You know what I mean? Anyways, besides the point. So, are you attracted to positive people or negative people? People that gossips, right? Like, are you one of those people that gossips behind people's back? Because there's a study shown that people relate what you talk about to other people, it kind of reflects on you. You know what I mean? So really be careful what you say about other people. So making a conscious choice every day not to discuss things that's not important, right? Stay away from drama, negativity, because it's usually none of your business or none of my business. And when I do allow it from time to time, how it makes me feel, I usually feel kind of drained, right? Especially when I wake up. I just want to do my thing. I don't want to have a full-on conversation. I don't need someone to be like, oh, you got to do this, you got to do that, right? So I'm repulsed by it. But before, I used to listen to drama all the time. I love listening to it. Oh my God, because it made me feel good. It validated my life choices. It made me feel like, damn, they're doing worse and I'm doing better. So I don't really have to do anything about myself to improve because they're doing worse. That's all it was. It's to validate my worldviews, right? Anyways, let's talk about one of the 4 slides that I have, starting with make it easy to win. Benjamin Franklin said, an investment in knowledge pays the best interest. So always consistently work on yourself, constantly learn and remind yourself, and then take action, right? So number one of the easiest thing to do is reducing the friction. So eliminate excessive obstacles, both physically and mentally. So a great place to start is number 1, your support group. What is your environment like, right? Who's pulling you down versus someone that's bringing you up? Because like I said before, misery loves company. Most people love to validate their work choices and life choices, right? And remember that most people, they project how they feel onto you. So if they don't think they could really do it, they're going to tell you that, I don't know, it seems a little risky, right? But then if you meet other people, it's like, no, actually, that sounds like a good choice. How can we make this work versus other people just turning it down? Well, all people, everyone could be just as successful. And I remember one thing, it's like in nature, just think about it. In nature, the tree grows to its full potential, right? Just in nature, right? No tree ever decides, you know what, this is how tall I'm gonna get, and just stop. You know, all depends on soil, whether or not it's getting enough sunlight and water. You know what I mean, right? But it grows to its highest potential. But a great thing about being human is you're not a tree, so you can move, right? You could decide to make a choice and become better, right? But for some reason, we don't. We only stop where we want to be, and when we feel comfortable, we just stop where we want. And I'm not saying that you can't take a little break every now and then, but at the same time, maybe if you're always constantly not doing anything for yourself, it's probably because you haven't really found anything that you truly love. And I'm not talking about things that you like. I'm talking about things that you truly love. You haven't really found anything that's emotionally compelling for you to want to pursue it every single day, right? Have your full-time job, but work part-time on your fortune. So whatever you want to do, work part-time on it, right? So maybe come back home, spend 1-2 hours, re-educate yourself so that you could move on and move forward with it. That's why people go to school. It feels like they need to do something and they get to learn. It's a structure, right? It's a good foundation, but most people don't really use it. So for example, if you really want to go learn how to cut hair or be a mechanic or learn how to dance, become a dance instructor or whatever it may be, do that part-time. Just do it part-time and then learn, and then eventually that fortune becomes a full-time, and then your full-time job back then becomes more of a part-time. You know, you see what you do? You're just basically transitioning. I don't know how to do this with my hand. Oh, I got to move my thumb. Yeah. So do that. All right. Let's see what else. Where was I? I kind of went all over the place. So yeah, other people project how they feel as a reflection on who they are or what they're not, right? So they might say something along the lines of, oh, you won't be good enough, or it seems kind of risky. I don't think it's a good idea, you know? And to some degree, they might be right, you know? Like maybe if you want to just drop thousands and thousands of dollars on crypto, like what'd I say? Was it Warren Buffett that said something like, only invest in things that you know? If you don't know, don't invest in it. Don't follow the crowd. Don't follow the herd. Like, invest on things that you know. And if you don't know it, don't invest in it. You might have FOMO. Other people might be very successful, but then there's also other people that really don't know, and they're just following the crowd, right? So anyways, So what is it that you truly want? Who do you wish to become? Where do you want to be? And what's really stopping you? Dale Carnegie said, inaction breeds fear and doubt, but taking action breeds confidence and courage. So confidence comes from competence. And it's being able to do it over and over in repetition, and consistency. And that's where you build confidence. I remember the first time I did a live, I was super shy. I was super shy. I was like, what's everyone going to be looking like? What are you going to be thinking when they look at me? Oh my God, am I wearing the same shirt? I don't care if I wear the same thing. No, I really don't. Okay. As long as my information gets out there, right? And then I slowly build things up from the ground up, right? My goal was, I was like, if I'm going to be at a different location, I want to create a space where it feels comfortable, where every day I wake up, I feel inspired. Those books, very inspirational, right? Just waking up, looking at it. I could always pick one out and just sit on that couch, that very messy couch that I have right now, and just sit down and read a book for about 10, 15, 20 minutes or 30 minutes, depending on how I feel. And that's a great way. So you want to eliminate the friction, right? Eliminate excessive obstacles and reduce the friction. So confidence comes from being competent. And you have to be willing to fail and, be okay with failure, because you're gonna fail no matter what. It's who's gonna be telling you when you fail that, hey, you know what? It's okay as long as you learn it. Like, what do you learn from it? Oh, not to do this anymore. Okay, cool. Let's move forward, right? Unsuccessful people are focused on earning a living and getting through the work week, because you must work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Oh, quick little pause. Everything that I'm saying now over here, majority of it, even before, big shout out to Jim Rohn. He's one of my inspirations for this live. So thank you. Rest in peace. But he taught a lot of very, very, very good, great knowledge. And it's a philosophy. Philosophy becomes part of your attitude, and your attitude becomes part of your identity. So it really depends, like, where do you want to be and who do you want to become, right? So big shout out to Jim Rohn. So work harder on yourself than you do on your job. A formal education will make you a living, but self-education will make you a fortune. So never stop working on yourself, never stop learning, right? So that you can live the life you wish to have. So if you decided that you want to have a better body, right? You want to be financially free, better friends, finding a better lover, you must set a plan and you have to put in the work. But the fact that most of you here, two people that are here, and you're here and you want to learn and you want to educate yourself, it shows me that you're taking yourself a little bit more serious. Not a lot of people take themselves serious. Slide number 2. Excuse me. Oh, that's good tea. So, unless you change how you are, you'll always get what you got, or you'll always have what you got. Now, Jim Rohn says you cannot change your destination overnight, but what you can change is the direction overnight of where you want to be. So let me read that again. You cannot change your destination. So you can't be somewhere 10 years from now, tomorrow. But what you can do is be like, you know what? I no longer want to be this type of person anymore. I no longer want to do this. Unless you change how you are, you'll always have what you got, right? Excuse me. So how do you expect life to change if you don't make any type of drastic changes? You can decide that one day, I no longer want to be blank anymore. I no longer want to be like this anymore. You can make a decision. And you have to give yourself a strong enough reason. The moment where you say, I had enough, I'm going to become blank. That becomes part of your identity. Me being a relationship coach, it was difficult for me to even say that in the beginning. I was like, oh, Mitchell, you're a relationship coach, and I said it enough to a point, and then I got things to back it up now. I have testimonials. I have people telling me like, damn, I saved their marriage, or I become a much better person now. I'm starting to attract the right type of people into my life based off this. And then now, if other people be like, oh, you ain't shit, you can't do this, you can't do that, well, guess what? I've already done it. So maybe it might not work for you, but it doesn't mean it won't work for other people. So having that, right? Now, all these non-believers, I'm not going to let them tear me down, because I have enough for myself to build. And if I'm not enough, I could always become better, right? You could always become better. So, true story. All right, I'm gonna read this. I woke up one day and I was really upset because there were certain things I was like, man, I don't have the type of body that I wanted. I'm not where I want to be, where in my love life, or, you know, I wish I was like this and like that. But Jim Rohn also said, you know, don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. Don't wish for less problems, wish for more skills. Where do skills come from? Well, skills come from taking action, by being able to constantly tell yourself, hey, this is all I need to do. Like, but here's the thing though, just don't be telling yourself all of this and then do nothing about it. Say it and then actually apply it, and then do it. It's like, oh, I wish I could learn a dance. Okay, well, what are you doing to learn that dance, Mitchell? You're not really moving your feet. You're not watching the choreography. So how are you learning it? Okay, it means that I just gotta learn it. I just gotta set aside some time and just stay focused, put away my distractions, and just focus. So, you know, it takes me a little bit longer to usually to learn a dance, but now I feel much more confident in learning a dance by watching a video. I can learn it now. It doesn't take long. It just takes time. It's kind of like more of busy work than it is like hard work, you know? So I know where I'm at. So, and here's the thing. I didn't really work on myself back then. Like, I wish for all these things. I wish for a better life. I wanted to be X, Y, and Z, but I never really did anything. And I just basically was waiting for a handout. And I was like, look, no one's going to give me a handout. No one really cares about my problems. If anything, they're glad that I have them. So I had to make a difference. You have to participate in your own rescue, and no one's there to save you. No one's going to be your mommy. Okay. So like, you have to work on it. And, you know, as I was growing up, I had a lot of people kind of doubting me. So as I was being doubted, now I'm like, oh, you know, they're absolutely right. Yeah, if I say that and I believe in that type of story, then that's gonna be my story that I consistently tell myself. If I constantly tell myself that I can't do it, well, guess what? I just proved them right. I like to prove people wrong. So I'm gonna make a difference, right? So I didn't know what I was doing, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna quit my job over here, and I'm just gonna go over here and fold some towels, because I want to be in an environment where I kind of know what I'm doing when it comes to personal training. I just want to get an idea. And then now I became that trainer where I'm able to train people. I'm able to do it confidently, standing in front of them, right? I still remember the first time I ever stood in front of a crowd, or not crowd, my first client. I was terrified. I didn't know what I was doing. I was like, do this. The only knowledge that I knew was what I did for myself, right? And no one starts out great, and it's okay. And then now I got to take on something a little bit newer, right? Being able to teach in front of a crowd, being able to not just teach, but control the crowd, see how everyone's doing, right? Because I'm getting a lot of information, and it's giving me a lot of anxiety, especially in the beginning, right? I was like, oh my God, I got to focus on this, focus on it. I was like, what if I just kind of let those go, because I haven't even done it yet, and then just do it. And if it goes bad, great, I learned something. And if it goes great, then keep those. keep those. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? So whether it be dancing, right, video games, training, being a life coach, being a relationship coach, right? And great thing was I got to do all those things, and I was unapologetic about it because I knew what I liked, and I just went for what I liked. I had to figure out what I loved, not what I liked, though. Okay, so and one thing that I loved most was a lot of people, even when I was younger, they always like to call me, back then people actually like to speak on the phone. They would call me, or I would be in school. They'd be like, oh yeah, this is what's happening. And they like to vent to me. They like to vent to me a lot. But then I realized one day, I was like, you know what? I'm giving them advice, but I don't know if these advice are solid. I don't know if are these advice backed up, whether it's science or not, or whatever, or my philosophy. I was like, there has to be something out there that could like really give me like an understanding, right? I wasn't looking for a philosophy when I was trying to get into relationship coaching. I got into relationship coaching because I was deeply hurt. And I fell into this rock bottom where I was like, life ain't really worth living, which could be kind of scary to even think about. So I fell into this deep, like rock bottom, right? Rock bottom. And then I was like, there has to be a way. So I was looking, and then finally I found something, and I didn't even know that I accidentally fell into this. It's not so much of tips and tricks, but it became a philosophy, right? And little by little, I started understanding it a little bit more, and I fell in love with it. And ever since, I was like, wow, this is great. Now I feel much more confident listening to people and giving them the right advice. And then I'm constantly working at refining it, looking over it. Is this the right choice? And that's how you become better, right? And especially if it's things that you love, you will constantly get better at it, right? Because imagine going to a job that you dislike every single day. You're not gonna have fun. You're not gonna have fun doing it. You're gonna be miserable when you come back home. You're not gonna feel energized. It's like, what's the joy of that? You don't even get to enjoy life. You know what I mean? Not a lot of people get to say that they like to do what they want to do. It's usually because they're not doing enough for themselves. So anyways, I love nothing more than to solve problems for people, right? But the real question is that you should be asking is why not? Most people like to ask why. The real question is why not? Why not do it? Why not go for the job that you want? Why not try out for that team? Or why not go for this goal that you want? Why not? What's really stopping you? Right? Fear. So you have nothing to lose but a life to win, right? And Jim Rohn, there's a long quote, so bear with me. Third slide. You have nothing to lose but a life to win. 10 years from now, you will surely become someone. The big question is, who? What are you becoming? What do you want to do? Where do you want to go? What do you want to be? What would you like to have? What would you like to share? How much would you like to earn? These are all great questions, right? How far would you like to go? Those are major questions to ask. And if you go to work on it now, sure enough, it will, in a very short period of time, you can take a new direction to become the kind of person that you want to be. And I think this was Tony Robbins that said it, or he might have had gotten this from somewhere else. But most people, they overestimate what they could do in a year, but underestimate what they could do in 10. You have to have a strong reason of why you want to do it. I've seen a lot of people, they're emotional. They act based on emotions, right? And they start something. And I was like that too. They start something, but they never finish it. Like, I know someone that started doing something because there was a pain in their life. And I was like, damn, I feel you. What made you want to do it? Oh, I just want to do this. I want to do that.
because this person was in pain. The moment that pain went away, they stopped doing it because they felt like, oh, I don't need this anymore now that I'm better. And I was like, well, then you're not really doing anything for yourself. You just stop doing it completely because, okay, maybe another person went, like maybe you were hurt, you were broken up, so you're hurt. Now you're trying to do something, and then now that you're in a relationship, where did it all go? Why did it stop? You know what I mean? Most people start something, they don't finish it. If you're gonna start something, be serious. Have a strong enough, emotionally compelling reason to continue. Most people don't have those reasons. So they underestimate what they could do in 10. Okay? They overestimate what they could do in a year. Right? So maybe you're heartbroken right now, right? If you're heartbroken, well, a great question to ask is, what should I do? Time will pass anyways. Make great use out of it. And one of the worst things that you could do is to do nothing when you're heartbroken. One of the worst things that you can do, right? Now, I'm not saying that you can't sit around and feel the pain, because you got to feel it to heal it. You got to feel that type of pain. Why do I feel so depressed right now? Why? Because I just lost someone that I didn't want to lose. Okay? Well, pain could be a great teacher. So, well, why did I lose that person? What did I do? What didn't I do? Did I listen to this person enough? Were there some things that I did wrong? And so you really have to think about what you did in the relationship in order to move on and become a better person when you go on to a new relationship. So an example is, pick up a book. Pick up a book. One of the best things that you could do is pick up a book and learn from those that has done it before you. Okay? There's decades, if there's years, if not decades, of knowledge in that book. Yet we sit down and we listen to one of our friends that doesn't really know any better, that's just giving, I've gotten really, really poor advice before from friends, and I took those advice and I'm like, fuck, why did I ever take those advice? And I learned, it's a great thing. I learned from it. So, but it's because it requires a lot less effort. I didn't have to read the book. I just could go to one of my friends and be like, well, how do you do it? How do you do it? But what makes them more qualified than a book? There's a lot of knowledge behind, okay, that you could be putting down and not. So you have to really put in the effort and learn, right? And most people say, especially when I give them a book, oh, nah, man, I don't have a lot of time. I'll get around to it. I know people that bought their own book. I've given books to certain people and be like, read this book. Months go by. I'd be like, hey, did you read it? They're like, oh, no, I didn't really. I was like, but you had time to go to the club and start going out and drinking, but you didn't have time. All right. Just tells me where you want to be in life. It has, it doesn't upset me. It just lets me know how serious you're taking yourself. So I've suggested How to Win Friends and Influence People, because that's a great book to start out with, just to be a great human being, just the baseline on how to be a great human being. And then, if you're in a relationship or maybe you got out of one, a great way to learn about relationship is Coach Corey Wayne's How to Be a 3% Man. And it doesn't just tell you how to be a 3% man. A woman could read that book and learn a lot from that too, so that she could learn what it's like to understand to be a man, and also hone your natural essence. And then, so if you're female and your natural essence is a feminine energy, you get to learn and understand what's it like to be more feminine. You can still be yourself, but understand that you're also communicating a different type of language when you're around a guy too, so that you understand, why is he telling, like, I'm just trying to express myself. I just had a long day. I just want to express myself. Why is he always trying to solve my problems? I just need him to listen. Well, if you read that book, then it will tell you, hey, this is how This is how he operates. This is how men kind of operate. So it gives you an idea of where to begin. And, you know, maybe you could take a step back too, so that you could accommodate each other, right? So it's learning the other person. So also for me, I had to learn what's it like to understand a female's perspective, right? When she's talking to me, I'm like, okay, does she want me to listen, or does she want me to give my 2 cents? Most of the time, it's me listening to her and asking good questions. And then that's when she feels like, damn, this person actually listens to me. And then what coach says, men who understands women are loved by women. You just have to understand them. I'm not doing anything different. I'm just trying to understand why you say the things that you do, why emotions fluctuate, right? Why one day you could tell me that you love me, or I care about you so much, and then the next minute you be like, I hate your fucking guts. It's a woman's emotion, and it's just like clouds, right? And the clouds will get in the way of the sun, and eventually, but I just know eventually the sun will shine. And guess what? I'm like, she's just having her moment. It's okay. I'm gonna let that go, right? And because I know that she's a happy, healthy, normal woman, I'm gonna let that go. Be like, baby, it's okay. You know, it seems like you got a lot on your mind, right? If she's being foul, if she's being like disrespectful, I'm gonna be like, you know what? I'm gonna walk away, and I'm gonna let this simmer down, and then we're gonna come back to it, and we're gonna talk about this later. And that way, I'm understanding that she will have her moment, and we just gotta approach it at a different time. It doesn't mean we ignore it. It means that right now is not the time, right? There's a time and place for everything. So, great book. I highly suggest it, right? So most people, they won't work for it. The thing is, we don't see it, and it's not tangible. So learning something like this, learning to become a better person, learning, like, even if I be like, oh, personal training is good and do this and that, like, it's not something that's tangible. You don't really get to hold it. What I'm selling you is an idea. I'm selling you this idea that if you do this, you will have a better life. If you do this exercise, your chest will be a lot bigger, or your legs will be, or your butt is gonna look a lot nicer, right? You know what I mean? It's like, if you do this. But then a lot of people, they have a lot of self-doubt. They have low self-esteem, and they're like, well, I don't think this will work. I don't think this will work. And so guess what? That's what they believe in. And no matter what they do, they're going to believe that. I have someone that been training with me for a minute. They say to themselves, yeah, I don't really see any changes. And I was like, okay, let's be honest. Like, how long have you been working out? How good have you been eating? How many times did you used to work out as opposed to now? How's your sleep schedule? Like, what's going on, right? Let's really break it down. How's your stress level? Stress level's gone up. Your workout's gone down. Your sleep has been poor. Your eating habits been worse. And you want great results. Okay. So I'm not using it against them, but I'm just being honest. I'm like, everything in your life right now, and then what you do now is barely maintenance. You used to work out 2 to 3 times more. Now you're working 2 to 3 times less, right? So the same thing goes for people. It's like, this philosophy doesn't work. Well, how long have you put into work? How long have you been trying to understand why you're doing the things that you do? What is your attitude towards life? What is your philosophy? What do you believe in? Who do you want to become? They can't answer those questions. Well, of course things aren't working out for you because you haven't really decided at that moment that this is the person you want to be. There's not enough pain, or there's not enough reason for you to want to change. And I can't change that for you. So it's really up to yourself. Until one day you decide it, right? So another great line or another great quote was, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. That's when you finally decided you want to be a student and you want to learn. Because most people, Most students that sit in a classroom, they're not students. They're just there to take up space. And that's where most people reside in life. And then when they grow up and they get a little bit older, well, guess what? They're not really doing anything significant for their life. They're just kind of breezing through life until one day they're no longer here, right? And we all have the same destination. So, you could live the life that you want to live. That's up to you. I'm not your dad. I'm not here to try to force you to learn anything. But if you're here and you're listening to this, it means that you're already taking yourself a little bit more serious. And to me, that's enough. But then what are you going to do after that? How are you going to apply it? How long are you going to do it? And then the great question is, and the great answer to that is until I get there. And I'm still going to get it, right? So yeah, most people work hard for it. We don't see it, so it's not tangible, so it doesn't seem real. But I guarantee you that if you continue to work on it, you will get where you want to be. Okay? And my last slide is, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Successful people do what unsuccessful people are not willing to do. So don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. You got to ask yourself quality questions. So the questions that that Jim Rohn had: where do you want to go? How much do you want to earn? Where do you want to be? Who do you want to become? Those are the type of questions you want to constantly ask yourself, right? The quality of the questions is in direct proportion to the quality the quality of your life. The quality of your life is in direct proportion to the quality of the questions that you consistently ask yourself. So are you asking yourself quality questions? And if you are, and you ask them sincerely and genuinely, then you're going to be like, okay, so I want to be like this. This is where I want to be. And you can always kind of like change it up a little bit. Nothing's set in stone, right? But you want to ask yourself these type of questions, right? So if I am in a relationship and I want to become the person that, hey, look, I'm looking for someone that's loyal, that's easygoing, easy to get along with, that doesn't bring a lot of drama. When things doesn't go her way, she knows how to control herself a little bit. That's what I like. That's what I enjoy, right? And that's the relationship that I want to be in. Kind of easygoing life. And like the best thing that I've ever heard from couples that has been a long, I'm talking about long term, like 50 plus years of being together. And the best thing is that they gave was, I was like, what made your relationship so great, so fun, and so easygoing? It's like, well, 50 something years, we never argued. We have disagreements. We don't agree with everything that they do, but we never argue. We don't argue with each other. And I was like, wow, something so simple, yet we kind of overlooked that. And I remember my coach saying, men who understands women don't argue with them. Well, also the other way around too, right? It's like, well, if you're always into like drama and you're trying to like elicit this type of response by like saying something just to piss them off, it's like, well, do I really want to be around that type of person that doesn't know how to control their emotions all the time? Like, I get that you could be mad, but don't be mad at me. Let's try to understand this together so that we can solve this. All right. So Jim Rohn, he says, we look back for experience and we look ahead for inspiration, right? So your past is a great experience, but we like to look forward for inspiration. But where you really want to be is in the present, and focus it on it now. So wherever you're at, whether it's not, like I said, the body that you want, the type of money you want to earn, right? What career do you want to be? Like, those are certain questions that you want to ask yourself, and then ask yourself, how can I get there? Who has done it before me? Who can I emulate? What can I learn from this? Right? So you may have, and this is what Jim Rohn also said, you may have enough skills, you may have enough desire, you may have enough experience, But one thing that most people are lacking is enough reasons to do it, because reasons will keep you consistent. Reasons is what's gonna make you wake up a little bit early. Reasons is gonna have this, you know what, you're gonna set time every single day to do this certain thing, right? Whether it's, look, I have to take my vitamins, right? Or I have to go work out, or I have to do this. And I could guarantee you might not enjoy working out. Me too right now. Like sometimes when I wake up at like 4:30 a.m., I don't want to go to the gym at 5 o'clock and work out, but I could guarantee you this. The moment I get in there and I start doing it, I instantly feel a lot better. I feel more energized. I have more energy. I'm less lethargic. I don't complain as much. I still wake up, I'm like, damn, I still gotta do. Yeah, you do, Mitchell. Well, discipline equals freedom. You have to have discipline. If you don't have discipline in your life, you're not gonna have the freedom, and it's gonna come with a lot of consequences. So anyways, you have to have a lot of reasons that drives you, that gets you up every single morning to do the things that you do, right? And like I said, remove the friction. Remove the excessive friction and obstacles in your way. So, hey, you know what? If waking up is difficult for you, like for me, I like to set things up, like my clothes, everything. I just like to get up, pick up my bag, and dip, okay? Like that's how easy I want it to be if I needed to get out that early. So, successful people aren't special people. They're not more special than others. But success is doing ordinary things extraordinarily well. That's it. You just got to do it really, really well and refine it every single time and see what works and what doesn't work. Learn to speak. Learn how to speak. Because poor people could talk and rich people could talk. It's just that rich people talk better. They learn to talk better. I didn't say that. Jim Rohn said that. So I thought it was amazing. I was like, you're right. Rich people and poor people could talk. It's just that rich people learn how to talk better. Very general, but it's very true, right? Most people usually seek help when they're in pain. And usually people don't come to me when they're like, hey, Mitchell. I mean, they kind of do, because they're like, hey, I like your energy. I like being around you. You're cool to hang out with, right? But they don't really come to me unless they're like, damn, like, hey, I'm a little overweight, or, you know, they come to me and they work out and they tell me about their life. It's like, damn, this is what's happening. This is where I'm at right now. And I'm like, yeah, like, tell me what's going on. And then we work at both of those becoming the person that they want to be, right? Little by little. And that the great thing is, they not having a great workout, they're also like, they kind of have that to some extent. It's like therapy for them. I'm not saying I'm a therapist, but to them it's a therapy where they get to talk, they get to vent out, and then I get to listen, and then I get to learn, because I'm getting all these other stories that I'm like, damn, this sounds like something that I'm very used to. And if I don't know something, I'm not gonna be like, oh, you should do this. I'm gonna be like, you know what? I'm gonna get back to you, because that's a great question, and I don't know how to answer that right now. But let me get back to you. Give me about 24 hours. I'll come up with something that makes a lot more sense, because I don't want to give you information that is false. And they respect that. It's because I'm honest. I don't know everything. And if I do know everything, I still would like to make sure, hey, you know what? Is this the right answer? Is this the right thing that I should be giving them? Because, hey, this might change your life. I don't want to say something that might ruin their life. You know what I mean? I got to make sure. And I got to be willing, I have to understand, like, can I back that up? Can I back that up? Right? So, anyways, most humans, we like to do more to avoid pain than to gain pleasure. We will almost always go towards pleasure. So sitting around, not doing anything, sitting in a couch, right? Opening that bag of chips. I love doing that time to time. But it's a lot easier to do nothing, right? It's easier for me not to sit in front of here and just sit on a couch and watch TV. I could have done that. But, you know, I have strong enough reason. I love doing this. And I will always continue to do this. So guess what? I'm going to always do it. Right? So you do your best work when you're in a peaceful and a relaxed state. The goal is, how are you going to get there? What's your environment like? Who's the people that's around you? Are they supportive or are they not? Right? What is it about your environment that's causing you not to be in a relaxed state? Because a lot of people, they don't get to have that kind of comfort where they're comfortable. You know what I mean? And some people have to be like, hey, you know what? I know kids that are unhappy. Okay. And I'm like, hey, guess what you need to do when you get a little bit older? You have to find a part-time job or a full-time job while still educating yourself. And you have to get the hell out of there. And you have to be able to live on your own and support yourself, have a roof over your head, and not have someone kind of overshadow you all the time. And then that way you're physically not around them anymore, so they can't tear you down. Okay? And when they call you, you don't have to pick up right away. You get to be on your own. And at least you have to keep that peace for yourself, because you operate best when you're in your most relaxed state. And then, yes, it's a little setback because it's much easier to be in a place that's already supportive, with people that's already loving you, that's supporting you. But not everybody has that type of luxury. So guess what? Everybody starts somewhere a little bit different. It doesn't mean you can't get to that destination that you want to be eventually. Okay, so you got to work. You got to change the direction of where you want to go. So, hey, maybe save up a few months if you're miserable at home, whatever it may be. And then on top of that, continue to invest in knowledge and then apply it so that you can continue to be a better version of yourself consistently. And when you work on yourself and you know what you want, because when you work on yourself, you finally know what you want. If you never worked on yourself, you don't know what you want. Before I learned any of this, I was like, yeah, I just get anybody that kind of comes my way. As long as I'm attracted to them, they seem fun, great. That's good enough. Now I'm like, nah, does this person learn? Like, does this person know how to? Yeah, great advice for kids especially, right? Because a lot of kids, I know you being a teacher too, right? There's a lot of broken homes. There's a lot of broken homes. But yeah, continue to invest in that type of knowledge, because hey, guess what? Like, if you don't know, like for me, when I didn't know, I'm like, yeah, I get anybody. Now I'm like, all right, does this person know how to communicate? Is this person kind of like this jack in the box that you don't know whether or not it's like walking on eggshells, right? Is this person easygoing? Is this person easy to get along with? Does this person have similar goals and similar values that I have? Does this person, like me personally, and to other people it might sound like, damn, you're kind of shallow, Mitchell. But no, like I really like to take care of myself, which means that I like to eat healthy. I don't want to eat McDonald's and junk food all the time. Don't get me wrong. I could fuck Taco Bell up. I could fuck it up. Get me a party pack, 12 tacos. Mitchell could down 8 to 10 on a hungry day. I could do that. Probably not something that I want to do for the rest of my life. You know what I mean? But I like taking care of myself. I like going out, right? And I like to work out. I like to eat healthy, because I believe that, look, if I take care of my health now, then maybe, just maybe, I don't need to take anything when I'm older. I don't want to wake up every morning being 60, 70, 80 years old and be like, I got to take my medicine. I got to take my medicine. I got to take this. I got to take this. You know, like I want to have less responsibility and a life to live. 8 to 10. I could down 8 to 10 easily. Hard tacos, Taco Bell, especially if the shell's crunchy, 8 to 10. Watch me. Not the best thing for me though. Okay, I'm a big, I could eat. I could eat. All right. Most people be like, damn, you're so, of course, it's because I learned how to control, right? Discipline. Trust me, I like drinking regular sugar Coke. I just choose not to. Matter of fact, I bought Coke. Like I didn't just, okay, so people that are my friends, whenever they come over, I'm like, whatever you see, any type of snack, you never have to ask me anything. If you want to eat it, go for it. That's yours, okay? If you want to take some home, take it. It's yours. Whatever's there that's in that drawer, you can have it. Okay. You could take the whole drawer if you want. I could replace that. What I can't replace is the experience that I have with this person. You know what I mean? It's like, and I only invite good people over. You know what I mean? I won't invite someone that always constant. Look, every single time you come in here, my drawer is hella empty. And I feel like you only come here for the snacks. Okay. I don't have type of people like that. But anyways, I'm going to end the slide or end this really soon. But I love Coke. I like drinking Coke. But I personally drink Coke Zero. Okay. Because personal choice. I don't want all those sugar in my body. Okay. But I was like, you know what? I know people like Coke. And it's funny. I did this as a joke, but I was like, I want people to have a good experience. So I had to get the bottle ones. You know, the sugar cane ones. It's less sugar, actually. Let me show you. Right here. Cheap flex, cheap flex. But anyways, yeah, so cheap flex. I want people to have a good time whenever they're here. You know, I want them to enjoy themselves, right? So, because I had that for over 2 months. I have not touched, maybe I might have drank 1 or 2. I don't remember, 1 or 2. But it's like, if people be like, oh, what do you have to drink? I'd be like, I got a lot of zeros. And I have like Coke in a bottle. They're like, dude, I never had a Coke in a bottle before. I was like, you came to the right spot, right? Because I remember I paid like $3-4 for one, and I was like, this is ridiculous. So I bought it at Costco. Anyways, I hope that this live was good for you. I hope that you're gonna apply what you learned today, because you can always have more than you got. Your self-control go crazy. I eat this. It's like 60 calories. I have a full snack drawer ready to be devoured. But this is discipline, right? And then like, just think of it like this. If I could have this type of self-control when I go out there, right? Me being the single guy that I am, I don't need validation. I just need to know that if Mitchell, are you having a good time? If you're having a good time, you got good people around you, then that's good. That's good enough, right? And then naturally, things just come natural to you. You just start attracting people. And you're not out there trying to be like, oh, I need to do this. I need to find a girl. That's the type of energy that the last thing you ever want to give out, right? The quickest way to get someone else to change is to change yourself. So let's just say I'm going out there and I'm always constantly, look, I need to find myself a girl. I need to do this. I need to do that. Well, why don't I start operating from a place so that I become my most attractive self, whether it's getting my physical body to where it wants to be, to where I want it to be, to my standards at the very least. Start educating myself. Start learning how to understand people. Start listening to people, because most people don't get to be heard anymore. And then understand them, and then be like, oh my God, Mitchell understands me, right? And then I'm constantly working on myself. I'm not looking for anything in particular. And the greatest thing is, when you're not looking for it, things happen. And that's the beauty of it, right? It's a surprise. I mean, you can still, it doesn't mean that you don't go after what you want. Like, if you see something that you like, go for it. Hey, you know what? You see an opportunity, you got to go for it, right? Yeah. So anyways, gotta end this live. So thank you for watching. You can have more than you've got, because you can become more than you are. Hope this information is very helpful for you. And you know what? We're no different than anyone that's more successful. It's just that they do it a little bit more. So find something that you love doing, and then keep working at it. Whatever you want to be. And that's all that I have for today. So I hope you guys have a good Saturday, and enjoy the rest of the weekend. All right, take care. Bye-bye.